What is up, YouTube? I'm Adam Odell, Chief Investment Strategist of moneymarkets.com, and I'm here with my research analyst, Matt Clark, and we're here for another episode of Ask Adam Anything. Now, I have gotten a preview of this week's question because I had to do a little bit of number crunching and research. So we're going to be talking about infrastructure today, based on a question that we got from a keen user interested in that sector, and that information is the best way to invest. But Matt, I'll let you state the question best for us, and so take it away.
Yeah, and it's really great timing for this because obviously the infrastructure bill that's been pushed through Congress has now moved out of the Senate, will be discussed in the House probably sometime in September when they come back from their recess. So this is a perfect opportunity. And Dean sent this question in to feedback at moneymarkets.com. Dean, by the way, two things. One, thanks for the question. Excellent question. Two, be on the lookout for an email from our team. We're going to send you some money and market swag because we're using your question this time around. But he said, hi, Adam and Matt. I've been following your programs and videos for a while, and I'd like to ask you a question. He says, how to invest in infrastructure for the long term? I thank you very much in advance and look forward to your answer. Dean. And so that's, I think a great question, especially considering the time we're in. So Adam, that's it. How if I want to invest in infrastructure for the long term, especially with a $2-3 trillion infrastructure bill moving its way through Congress, is going to infuse a lot of capital into the sector. What is the best way for investors, experienced or otherwise, to buy into this in the long term?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to, I'm a stickler for words and their connotations. So this person asked how to invest for the long run. That to me is a different question than how to trade or how to speculate for the short term. So I'm certainly going to tailor my answer to that. I do believe that infrastructure is going to be one of these mega trends that kind of simmers. It's not quite as sexy as a lot of the other mega trends that you might be reading about now or that we bring to you in our newsletters. But it is certainly one of those that's going to be simmering underneath the surface for decades at a time. And so I think it is a good long-term investment. So what I'm going to point you to is today we're going to do what I call an ETF X-ray. And what I mean by X-ray is we're going to look at the individual holdings within an ETF. So we're not going to look at the price action of the ETF alone, but we're going to actually rate the individual stocks within this ETF using my Green Zone 6-factor stock rating model. So that rating model, you can find it for free at moneymarkets.com. Go to the top right-hand corner. There's a little search box that says Green Zone Ratings. Type in the symbol of any individual stock. It doesn't rate ETFs. I have to do that on my end. But any individual stock, and you can get the 6-factor score. Those 6 factors, 3 of them are technical, meaning price-based. Based almost solely on the price action of the stock. And those are momentum, volatility, and size, the size of the company. And then 3 of them are more fundamentals based on the company and the company's operations. So those are value, quality, and growth. So the ETF today that I want to highlight for a long-term, I believe conservative, well-diversified infrastructure play is the Global X Funds U.S. Infrastructure Development ETF. And the ticker symbol is PAVE. PAVE, just like you would pave a road. Very clever, right? So I'm going to read the summary of this ETF. This ETF seeks to invest in companies that stand to benefit from a potential increase in infrastructure activity in the United States, including those involved in the production of raw materials, heavy equipment, engineering, and construction. So that's basically the type of companies you're invested in if you buy the ETF PAVE, P-A-V-E. There are 99 individual stock holdings in this ETF. They have about $4.3 billion worth of assets under management. And this ETF was launched in March of 2017. So certainly a bit ahead of its time. Certainly infrastructure is now more in the news than ever. So to do an ETF X-ray, basically I have a spreadsheet on my end. We don't have this available on the Money Markets website. Again, you can search individual stocks on the Money Markets website. But what I do is I have a spreadsheet that runs every single individual stock holding of that ETF, PAVE, through my 6-factor Green Zone rating model, and it shows us the scores for all of them. Now, Matt, I told you this offline, but I was actually really surprised at how well this ETF rated overall. Now, ETFs, it's kind of a double-edged sword. The great thing about ETFs is that you're not ever going to invest only in the worst company by bad luck if you invest in an ETF, but by the same token, you're not only investing in the best company. So you kind of get a mix of the good, the bad, the ugly, and the middle of the road with ETFs. And because of that, a lot of these ETF X-rays that I do, they end up having overall green zone ratings in the 50-ish range. They're rather average. So PAVE actually rated overall the average score of all the individual stocks within the PAVE ETF. The overall rating was a 68. So that's pretty high for a well-diversified ETF, basically industry or sector theme ETF. So its highest ratings are actually on quality. Our quality factor score looks at how much cash they have on the books relative to how much debt, what their profit margins are, what their returns are, their earnings, things of that nature. So basically, this is an ETF, a diversified ETF of high quality companies. The second highest score is on growth. So even though you would think that infrastructure is more of a slow growing industry or theme, actually right now these growth scores are very, very high. The rates is 68 out of 100 on those. And then it's followed up by value and momentum. So again, to see an ETF with good momentum and value scores showing you that the price action is moving higher, but at the same time, most of these stocks are not overpriced. If anything, a lot of them are well underpriced. That's really positive. Now, the other thing I'll highlight, I think for a passive, conservative, long-term investor who wants to invest in the infrastructure trend, I think buying the ETF PAVE is a perfectly fine way to go. If you want a little bit more juice for the squeeze, if you want to look at some individual stocks within this ETF, you can certainly download the holdings yourself and go to the website, moneymarkets.com, and start tinkering around with individual stocks to see how they're rated. But as you know, Matt, we do a lot of the work for our subscribers as well. We run the newsletter Green Zone Fortunes, in which myself, you, and Charles every month highlight one stock that is our best pick for that month, as well as weekly updates. And as you probably know, there are 3 individual stocks that we have recommended in Green Zone Fortunes over the past 12 months that are included in this infrastructure ETF PAVE. One of the individual stock holdings that we have recommended many months ago was actually, we recommended 2 of these in October and November of 2020, right around the election time, when it seemed like infrastructure was going to be a big deal no matter who won the US presidential election. But one of the stocks we recommended is now the top rated individual stock within the PAVE ETF. Another one rates 89.8 out of 100. And then the third one rates 86.5 out of 100. So we basically have our readers, our subscribers to Green Zone Fortunes in 3 individual stocks within the infrastructure trend, and they were all rated 86 or higher out of 100. So these are top rated companies. These are companies that are growing fast, that have solid earnings, that have solid profit margins, that have good momentum, and they are still attractively priced because most people are looking elsewhere in the market rather than at infrastructure specifically. So that would be my answer to a long-term, safe, conservative investment within the infrastructure theme. It would be the PAVE, the Global X ETF, US Infrastructure PAVE. And if you want some more breakdown of some individual stocks that we think will outpace that ETF by 2 to 3 times over our holding period, which is about 2 to 3 years on the upper end, certainly sign up for Green Zone Fortunes for a nominal fee, and we will get you your subscription started right away and share all the details on those 3 stocks.
And that's great analysis, Adam. And I could not agree with you more. I think infrastructure is one of those under the radar trends that, we talk about looking for profits where no one else is looking. I think infrastructure is one of those areas that really no one is focusing on for whatever reason. But I think is one that has a lot of long-term potential. So a lot of great information. Dean, appreciate your question. And again, look out for an email from us. We're going to be sending an email to get some contact information from you so we can send you some money and market swag. We do that. Any question that you ask, you can send us to feedback@moneyandmarkets.com. You can send it for me, for Adam, for Charles, for all 3 of us, for 2 of us, does not matter. We would love to take your question if we do use it, or maybe if you send a video of your question and we use that, we will send you some money and market swag. You can do that at feedback@moneyandmarkets.com. Also, again, don't forget to check out the Green Zone rating system on Money and Markets. Very simple. You go to the website, moneyandmarkets.com, and up on the top corner, you'll see a search bar, type in any ticker you like, and then you will instantly be able to get the Green Zone rating and find out what that is all about. Adam, again, thank you for your time. Appreciate that. We'll look forward to doing it again next week. And enjoy the weekend, or enjoy the week, rather.
Sounds great. Same to you, Matt. Take care.